The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Make a memory of a lifetime with Shark Eye Outdoors out of Longboat Key, Florida. Experience their shark beach fishing, kayak tours, and fossil hunting. Go to sharkeyeoutdoors.com to schedule an outing now. Forest Bluff Real Estate Group serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and Michelle Parnell get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. They're a cannabis cultivation center owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Kruse. They focus on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. Iliad Epic Grow. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest-owned Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com.
Paul Hammond, candidate for Lake Forest Mayor, April 4th, 2023. He's a lifetime resident of Lake Forest, licensed professional engineer in Illinois, registered energy professional in Chicago, Purdue Electrical Engineering graduate, BSEE 1979, commodity trader for over 40 years. He's running on the issues of stopping the plastic grass in Lake Forest parks, because every 10 years a plastic field needs to be replaced because of deterioration and wear. Email paul.hammond.pe@gmail.com.
We'd also like to say that we're thankful for our patron supporters. Reverend Luke Back from the Church of the Holy Spirit.
Matt A., Elizabeth C., Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C., Dan Rogers, and Mike Adelman.
Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop in Kenosha, Captain Mike's Kenosha, Greentown Tavern in Waukegan, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan.
Jeremy Kruse, welcome to Lake Forest Podcast. Thank you for coming on. Gorton Center. How long have you been there teaching acting?
Well, I started full-time as the artistic director of Gorton Drama Studio on January 1st of 2023. And I started teaching about 2 years ago, the summer of 2020. And I taught a couple of camps in 2017.
And you're an LA guy. You're they fly in specialists said, "Oh man, we got to bring Jeremy Kruse actingtraining.com into Lake Forest." How'd we find you?
Well, I grew up in the area. I have lived in New York, LA, and I lived in Chicago downtown for about 10 years at one point. My wife and daughter, I have a 7-year-old daughter. We have a 7-year-old daughter. We were living in Brooklyn, and the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And we said, we got to get out of here. We got to go. And my parents live in Lake Forest, so we went and lived with them for a while and decided that we were going to stay.
This class, is this one of those classes when I look in my mailbox and I get the activities list from the Gorton Center, I flip through the pages, is this one of the things that I find, or is this something that's on the website? Like, how do I find out about this before I forget to ask?
Well, yeah, it's on the website and it's included in all the flyers that we do.
Okay.
Yep. And we have classes running currently, and we have classes for all ages from 2.5 to a class for boomers.
Now, I'm a big fan of acting class because I'm trying to act like I'm a podcast host, but my kid growing up, he's all grown up now, but in those awkward years when you're lacking confidence and standing in front of a group of people, learning some lines and going on a stage, I mean, that is definitely a mental marathon. I think it's a great, I vouch for whatever it is. It's at the high school or whatever school, do something where you have to go on stage in front of people for confidence. It really helps out. Have you heard those stories from other parents, Jeremy?
Absolutely. Yeah. Depending upon the experience level of the student, if it's a beginner, he or she will learn techniques related to being in the moment, breathing. Student goes through the process of preparing for the performance, experiences the rush and exhilaration of being in front of an audience, creating a character, gets that self-satisfaction.
It's also like teamwork. Like you get a cast together, you put on a show, and you get together, and it's like, hey, we did it. So if you don't play sports, you don't do music. This is another alternative where you can get the camaraderie going on. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you become really good friends with the people in your class, with the people in your cast. There are people that some of my best friends are the people that I've met through my theater and film experiences. And these kids, I have a group of 6 kids in my class for ages 5 to 8, and they've been together since the fall of 2021. And they're this little tight group, and they're acting buddies, and it's a special bond that you create when you go through the experience.
And then as you get older, I'm just spitballing here. What I've sent some of the people I used to work with to help get them better presentation skills. Because, when you ask for money, you have to be confident, because if you don't feel like it's worth it, it's going to show on your face. Do you learn like ad-libbing skills? Like I sent some people to Second City to go through the ad-libbing so you can think on your feet. Is that something that you can learn with acting as well?
We think about stage presence. Having good stage presence means that you are centered. You are not shifting your weight. You're not rocking back and forth.
Right.
You are planted. You're grounded. Your shoulders are stacked above your hips, and your hips are stacked above your toes. You look good. And you also have a vocal presence. You're breathing, you're using diaphragmatic breath, which is something that I teach all of my actors, so that you're getting good resonance in your voice. You're able to take on whatever vocal demands are made in the specific venue that you are in, whether it's a big, gigantic room or a small room. As far as the professional world goes, I work with business people. I have a student who comes to me every Saturday right now. She is a Lake Forest resident, and she's an executive, and she wanted some tips on how to have better camera presence. And we talked a lot about the things that I just said, and also basically creating a character when you go in to pitch an idea to a group, or you're updating your board of directors on your progress, or you're meeting with your team and you're not feeling it. You'd rather be somewhere else. Well, how do you do that? Well, you can use acting skills. So if Al Pacino is playing the Godfather, he gets into character. He thinks about, who am I? Where am I? What do I want? What is going on with me? He gets into character, tries to achieve his goal, and a business person can do the same thing.
Especially salespeople, right? Unfortunately, you have to go door to door, or if you're on a team that has to acquire new customers, you have to meet people for the first time. People judge you in what, not even 30 seconds. So the presence that you have, right? And then knowing what you have to say, because salespeople, they say, oh, I don't want to learn a script. I don't want to sound robotic. Well, if you don't rehearse what you're going to say, you're going to sound like crap anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, for a salesperson, it goes deeper than relaying information. Clients that I've had before, students that I've had that are in sales, what I advise is to think about what effect you want to have on the other person. Think about what you want from the other person. When you're pitching a service or a product, you're not doing it to make money. You're not doing, I mean, you are, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to help the person. You're trying to enhance the person's life in some way. If you operate from that point of view, from that level, then it helps in staying authentic. I mean, I think the point is to be authentic and to be sincere. We all need to make money. We all need to make sales and do all of these things in order to live. It seems to be most effective when it's coming from an authentic place.
Then getting back to the kids, these dumb phones, the eye contact is lacking. The electronics almost become like an analgesic, dealing with anxiousness, looking at something new and foreign. They'll just look on what they know, which is the phone. This acting can help break that routine. Do you find it a problem with the kids coming in? Hey, phones, leave them in the car, or how do you deal with that?
It depends on the age. I haven't had a real issue lately. When phones first came out, when the smartphones first came out,
2007, 2008 iPhone, somewhere on there.
Yeah. And for about 10 years after that, you couldn't get a kid to get off the phone. I mean, I had to resort to, I'd have a box at the door, and the kid, I'd say, you have to put your phone in the box. Otherwise, they were sneaking the phone. They had the phone in their pocket. They'd be literally on stage doing a scene,
Ding.
and checking their phone. I mean, it was incredible. And there were battles. Oh, there were so many battles about phones, and people were so mad when they get their phone taken away. I really feel like it's changed. I feel like I don't have to have that conversation anymore. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because kids are now so used to being told, okay, put the phone down. You have to put the phone down. And they just say, okay, fine. Or they're so used to the phone that it's really not that big of a deal anymore.
Right.
But definitely eye contact is a big thing. Eye contact is a big thing for every age. And it's something at the beginning that I'm coaching on. Make eye contact. Now let's do that moment again and make eye contact.
So what are the different age ranges? Again, I'm just kind of guessing here. It's like, why would I want to use Jeremy? All right, my kid, I got to get my kid to go out and do something. There's a play at the high school. I would like him to, get some confidence to go try out for it. Is it like 12, 13 years old? Is it the grade school plays? Like, what are the different age? We talked about the adults, but what about the kids? Where do you see the sweet spots that you can get these kids in a good head start to learn from you?
As I mentioned before, I have classes for all ages. So we have a class on Fridays for ages 2.5 to 4. I don't teach that. A teacher that I hired, Madison Kisst, she's a fantastic teacher. She leads that group. On Tuesdays, I have a class for 5 to 8-year-olds. That's a great place to start. If you have a child who is like mine, constantly in a make-believe world, imagining that she's an animal, a squirrel. My child, I think she is a squirrel. They're constantly playing games. This is a great place to go to take that imagination, take that energy, and use it to create characters, to create imaginary realities, because that's what we're doing when we're acting. We are creating imaginary realities. So to go back to The Godfather, Al Pacino had to create the reality that he did not want to be part of the family business, but he was being sucked in so that he could save the family. Yes, once I think I'm out, they
pull me back in. Yeah.
That's what we're doing is we have a bunch of exercises and games that help kids create imaginary realities. So the next classes that I have are ages 9 to 13. That's on Wednesday nights, and we do acting exercises. I went through the Second City program, so we do a lot of improvisation games and exercises. I teach them. That's when I start to teach method acting, and we can talk about that in a little bit. And then I have a class for teens, and I have a class for adults on Tuesday afternoons. The class for teens is on Saturdays, and every group is a little different. Every age group is definitely different, but every session seems to be a little bit different. And it always has been, because there'll be Sometimes there'll be more beginners, and sometimes there'll be people who have been doing it for longer. And that's acting class is cool in that way because you could always learn something from somebody at a different experience level. Being experienced, you can look back and say, "Oh, I remember when I struggled with voice projection, just a simple thing like that." Or I remember when I was having when it didn't make sense to me what it meant to explore a character's objective, and I had trouble finding the right objective. So the sweet spot, your original question was the sweet spot. I don't know that there is a sweet spot. You know, some people, I have a guy actually yesterday, I don't know how old he is, maybe 65 or so. He lives in Libertyville. He saw my class and he said, I've never taken an acting class. I always wanted to do it. I don't know why I never did it. Here I am.
You brought up method acting, and you had this when the technology changed. You had the silent films. You had one way of acting there. Then you started talking. Is that when method acting came in? Talked about the history of film and acting, and what is method acting?
How detailed should I be here, Pete? This is
whatever.
A big question. Method acting is reality acting. Instead of pretending that I'm experiencing something, I, as the actor, am going to actually experience it. So that the audience looks at me and says, "Oh, he's going through something right now. He's really going through something. He's not pretending." For a long time, up until let's say the late 1800s, actors had a style, and it was a presentational style. It's I'm going to look, sorrow and all that despair, and I'm angry, and there were schools where you went and you learned that if you're angry, you're going to pump your fists and make a face like this. A man in Russia, his name is Konstantin Stanislavski. He was an actor and a director, and he was interested in a more naturalistic style. He came up with a system. It was the Stanislavski system. What he discovered is that he could use personal experience to create real behavior. So essentially, we have three different kinds of memory. We have mental memory, 2 + 2 is 4. We have physical memory. We remember how to ride a bike. And we have what's called affective memory, which is the umbrella term for sense memory and emotional memory. I remember what my phone feels like. I know that the case feels a certain way and the face of the phone feels a certain way, and I remember the weight of it. Maybe it has a smell, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't have a smell. No, not so much. So and I remember emotional memories. I remember great things like my 9-year-old birthday, or I remember when my dog died 3 years ago. I remember what that felt like. He discovered over a number of years that you can tap into your sense memories in order to get the feeling, the reality that you want for your character. This whole approach came to the United States in the 20s. A group of actors and directors and writers, including Lee Strasberg, which I studied at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute in New York, and I taught there. He took the work of Stanislavski and continued it. That was with the group theater, and then the group theater disbanded, and in the 40s and 50s, the actor studio became a big presence. And so the actor studio was Marlon Brando, Marilyn Monroe, Paul Newman, Geraldine Page, Kim Stanley, all of those great actors. There were other great teachers too, Stella Adler and Sanford Meisner, Uta Hagen, and they all worked to create an acting approach that focused on creating real behavior.
When you talk about method acting, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I'm thinking about Andy Kaufman, the documentary that they did on Andy Kaufman with Jim Carrey in it. he had that one offshoot character where they couldn't figure out, was he really method acting to be that person, and they couldn't get him mentally, he couldn't get out of that.
People always, when method acting comes up, we always talk about Heath Ledger doing his work on the Joker, Jim Carrey's work in the Andy Kaufman movie Man on the Moon, and one of the most recent things was Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. He played all these jokes and pranks on castmates. That sort of stuff. When an actor chooses to be in character when he or she is not on stage or in front of the camera, when an actor is on set and in character, when an actor is in character at home or on the ride home or on the ride to the set, that's the character's choice. That's an actor's choice, rather. That's not really a method thing. We don't
To
teach
turn
that.
it on and off. That's not healthy not to be able to snap out of it.
Yeah, part of the method, part of Lee Strasberg's work and what I was taught and what I teach is you can get it going within about 3 minutes, and you do get it going within about 3 minutes, and then you turn it off within about a minute. And if you can't do that, then you have more studying to do. It's never have not once have I ever heard or read of Lee Strasberg advising an actor to stay in character beyond the performance. It isn't healthy. It isn't good for you. It's not good for your relationships. It's not good for your life. I don't think it's ever been proven that it is good for it, and it doesn't enhance a performance. The very basic thing I would say is don't do anything that is harmful, that isn't healthy.
Don't be an addict.
Well, yeah, but see, that's you touch upon something that's really an important point, and it's one of the first things that we talk about. If you are playing a heroin addict, you don't need to go out and do heroin. The whole idea is that this is an art, and part of your artistic ability, you're judged on how well you can create an imaginary reality. Lee Strasberg has a quote: "If it's literal, where is the art of acting?" So actors, a lot of times, beginners will want to, if they're drinking alcohol in a scene, it's, oh well, I'll just have a beer, and that. Well, no, I mean,
No.
the point is that we're acting. I mean, it's acting where a fiction is taking place. So no, you drink water or some sort of liquid, and it has to look like you're drinking a beer. And it has to look like it has the effect of alcohol. If it really does, then you're not acting, you're just drinking a beer.
That's good. I like that acting class. Let's do that one at the Lantern.
See, the best part, the best part of acting is the cast party afterwards. I mean, yeah.
That's
If you're playing a heroin addict, what you do is you have to do a little research, though. You have to find out what the physical effect is that heroin has on the human body. And maybe you go and you talk to heroin addicts and you observe behavior. I don't know. Maybe if I were playing heroin, maybe I would find somebody who's on heroin. I don't know. Or at least find video of somebody so that I know what it looks like. And then I can look into my life and see, well, what has that similar effect on me? Does pseudoephedrine, if I take a Sudafed, does that have that sort of effect? I mean, because Sudafed makes you goofy. I don't know about you, but it
I'm
does
always goofy.
Yeah.
Just ask my partner, Scoo.
So you find something that is parallel. That gives you a parallel experience.
What's your number one tip for kids? What's your number one tip for adults? Let's give them a little sample so it's like, I want more of this.
Well, I think the very first thing is our focus is not on pretending. It's on actually experiencing what the character is experiencing. That's the beginning. It's not on how do I say the lines. It's on why do I say the lines. So the words mean nothing. The words mean absolutely nothing. And in Shakespeare, the lines are beautiful, it's poetry, but the dialogue is the tip of the iceberg. What is most important, where the focus is, and is what's going on with us as the character, emotionally, psychologically, what effect we are trying to have on the other person in the scene.
What the thing that I saw from my kid from doing this was it helped his study habits to remember this stuff. I don't know if rote learning is good. I don't know how the hell he did it. I know that if I want to learn 18 songs and go on the stage, I just have to do it over and over and over. I don't know how else to do it. Do you have any memorization tips?
Well, I think that definitely helps. I think doing it over and over and over again definitely helps. If I have a lot of lines, I have little strategies that I use. I think that when you exercise your mind, your memorization skills in that way, I think just like anything, you get better and better at it. So it'll bleed over into, like for a kid, it'll bleed over into his or her study habits, and his or her ability to retain facts and figures. So when I have a lot of lines, I record myself saying them into my phone these days, into the voice memos, and I'll listen to it over and over again. I type it out. There's an app that I have where you say it into the app. You say the other person's lines into the app, and then it plays it back for you, and then you get your cue line. So that helps a lot, because there's a big bridge between knowing the line and knowing your cues. And then you add on top of it. Yeah, you add on top of it, you have to know your blocking, and it's a really valuable mental exercise as far as all that goes. Yeah, very valuable.
Because again, getting back to electronics, kids are missing on facial cues, and I think acting, especially when they're younger, that can help get rid of some of this electronic fog that's out there that I hear about. Jeremy, what's the best way for newbies that just moved into town to learn more about you? I'm going to put a nice little slide here.
Yeah, GortonCenter.org. And we have a page dedicated to Gorton Drama Studio. So it's GortonCenter.org.
I'll put the slide in the URL here.
Okay.
Trisha Sweet said, I got to hook up with you. I'm like, hey, man, I love Trisha Sweet. How do you know Trisha? Should we give a shout out to Trisha Sweet, Jeremy?
Let's give a shout out to Trisha Sweet. She's my, we work in the same space at Gorton. My desk is just a stone's throw away. And, we chit chat, the stuff we talk about. So,
we won't cut that out. Jeremy, anything else you want me to bring up, or anything you want to bring up? We're about 30 minutes or so, a little under 30. So I think that I'm just gonna put this out by itself with your heading, so people grab it.
Okay. Well, I'm just really excited to be starting this program. I love acting. I think that it is an incredible form of self-expression. You make lifelong friends in your classes, in the productions that you are in. If you are an actor, I am focused on making this program a top-notch program, a place where people of any experience level can come and explore his or her ideas, to feel the exhilaration of performance, of creating characters, finding out what this whole thing is about, this whole experience, this human condition, this mysterious beast.
Well, Jeremy Kruse, thank you so much for coming on the Lake Forest Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Make a memory of a lifetime with Shark Eye Outdoors out of Longboat Key, Florida. Experience their shark beach fishing, kayak tours, and fossil hunting. Go to sharkeyeoutdoors.com to schedule an outing now. Forest Bluff Real Estate Group serves Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff. John Josephitis, Laura Lee Van Fleet, and Michelle Parnell get a free market analysis now at forestbluffrealestate.com. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Their cannabis cultivation center owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Kruse. They focus on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. Iliad Epic Grow. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Havey Communications has been helping first responders arrive safely since 1983. It's owned by Lake Forest-owned Mike Havey. Check them out at haveycommunications.com.
Paul Hammond, candidate for Lake Forest Mayor, April 4th, 2023. He's a lifetime resident of Lake Forest, licensed professional engineer in Illinois, registered energy professional in Chicago, Purdue electrical engineering graduate, BSEE 1979, commodity trader for over 40 years. He's running on the issues of stopping the plastic grass in Lake Forest parks, because every 10 years a plastic field needs to be replaced because of deterioration and wear. Email paul.hammond.pe@gmail.com.
We'd also like to say that we're thankful for our patron supporters. Reverend Luke Beck from the Church of the Holy Spirit.
Matt A., Elizabeth C., Costa, Lance, Otto, RDM, John C., Dan Rogers, and Mike Adelman.
Shout out to the Lake Forest Breakfast Group, Broad Stop in Kenosha, Captain Mike's Kenosha, Greentown Tavern in Waukegan, and the Frolic Lounge in Waukegan.